Hey listeners, it's Paul Andriola here. Why not join our community at Small Cap Discoveries, where we offer our members direct access to some of the best microcap investment opportunities available. Our members are getting access to premium microcap financings, research reports, and direct access to management. Sign up today at www.smallcapdiscoveries.com.
Welcome, everyone. Today, we have an interview with Raveel Afzaal, CEO of Next Hydrogen. Next Hydrogen trades on the venture exchange under the symbol NXH. Has roughly 22.9 million shares outstanding, trades at 79 cents, or at least close at 79 cents, for roughly an $18 million market cap. Raveel, thank you for joining us today. Good to see you again. We haven't seen each other in quite a while.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, you bet. Next Hydrogen's a company that we looked at a little while ago. You're doing some pretty cool stuff in called the green economy. Why don't we just hand it over to you, and you've got a presentation. Let us know what Next Hydrogen's all about.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for the opportunity. It's great to see you and to be in front of your investors again. I'll start off with just a disclaimer. Please review this legal disclaimer, as this presentation does contain forward-looking information, and actual results can differ or may differ from the results suggested by the forward-looking statements. So what is Next Hydrogen? Next Hydrogen manufactures water electrolysis equipment like the one shown in the picture below. Water electrolysis is a process where you take electricity and water as inputs. Electricity is used to split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. So Next Hydrogen has an innovative water electrolyzer that can be directly connected with and load follow renewables, so that it uses green electricity as the input and our output is green hydrogen gas. Green hydrogen is going to be a critical part of overall energy mix to decarbonize those industries that cannot easily be electrified. First, there are certain industrial processes which already use hydrogen gas, such as ammonia production, refineries, and methanol. In fact, they consume about $120 billion worth of hydrogen every year. So there already is a significant understanding on how to transport, store, and use hydrogen. Unfortunately, the hydrogen that they consume comes from fossil fuels and is very carbon intensive. About 830 million tons of CO2 annually. So water electrolysis can help provide clean hydrogen as a direct substitute to this dirty hydrogen and help decarbonize these industrial operations. So there already is a very large opportunity to displace this fossil fuel-based hydrogen, which commands $120 billion in annual sales with green hydrogen. Further, there are new use cases for hydrogen in mobility. These include forklifts for distribution centers. Here you replace batteries with hydrogen-powered fuel cells. The rationale is that you can fuel up a hydrogen-powered forklift in 2 minutes, compared to 20 minutes to 1 hour to replace the batteries, which can occur as many as 3 times a day. So in addition to reducing downtime, you get similar performance until the last molecule, while the performance of the batteries, as you know, can start degrading as the charge decreases. Also, there's a reason why NASA uses fuel cells. They can withstand harsh environment, such as cold storage in a distribution center. This is the reason why companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Canadian Tire have started rolling out hydrogen-powered forklifts in their distribution centers. For trucks, it's significantly greater range and ability to carry higher payload, as you can replace the heavy batteries with hydrogen-powered fuel cells. You're seeing significant development by companies like Hyundai and Kia, Daimler, Toyota, BMW, to name a few. These companies have to see an addressable opportunity in billions of dollars for them to find it worth their time to launch products into this market. Other applications include mining. Caterpillar is doing some great work in this space, and aviation fuel. Airbus, Rolls-Royce are doing some really good work in this space. So when we look at all of these applications that we discussed, we see an addressable market opportunity of $80 to $100 billion just to 2030 for our equipment. According to Goldman Sachs and other industry experts, the serviceable market could go to $1.8 trillion, so with a T, for companies like Next Hydrogen by 2050. So the macro drivers for sales of our equipment include the following. One, we have exposure to industrial and transportation energy markets. That inherently implies a very large market opportunity. There have already been about $320 billion worth of hydrogen projects already announced through 2030. Not all of them will approach final investment decision, but the point is $320 billion worth of hydrogen projects have already been announced. Number two, we need to decarbonize. Sorry, just going back to that previous point, if even half of these projects come to fruition, there wouldn't be enough electrolyzers to meet the demand. So you could start seeing a crunch over here. Number two, we need to decarbonize our planet for some applications as discussed above, and hydrogen is the only viable pathway for those applications. So there may be ebbs and flows, but the push towards decarbonization will remain relentless. Number three, we are seeing about 75% of the world GDP already having implemented policies to grow the hydrogen economy. For example, in US, they announced $9 billion worth of support for hydrogen hubs and a production tax credit of up to $3 per kilogram for green hydrogen to drive its widespread adoption. Four, this is just no longer a public sector initiative. Investors like you, like BlackRock, are demanding companies to reduce their carbon footprint, or their cost of capital will increase. Hence, there's strong motivation for end users of our products to adopt green hydrogen. Finally, and fundamentally the most important, the growth of renewables and the decreasing cost of renewables. About 80% of the cost of hydrogen production is renewable electricity, and the prices continue to decrease. In some areas now, they're below 4 cents per kilowatt hour, compared to 20 cents per kilowatt hour at the beginning of the century. So further, renewables also continue to grow. At COP28, world leaders committed to tripling renewables by 2030, which will play a vital role in making green hydrogen more cost-effective against dirty hydrogen and diesel. As discussed, the green hydrogen market is seeing global acceptance, which helps diversify away country-specific regulatory risk for our company. If you add up all of these mandates that you see on the map, this points to 100 gigawatt of electrolyzers being installed by 2030. So we talked about how exciting the market is. We believe Next Hydrogen is competitively positioned to be a dominant market leader for this growing water electrolysis equipment market. This is because of almost 2 decades of research and innovation to come up with a unique electrolyzer which is purpose-built for integration with renewables. There are 2 types of low-temperature water electrolyzers in the marketplace today. Alkaline electrolyzers, which have been around since 1930s, very low cost, mature supply chain, proven durability, and scalability. However, they do not connect well with renewables. So, why is that? Because electricity availability and amount varies during the day. They are more like a nuclear plants in the sense that they don't like to ramp up and down. Then you have PEM electrolyzers, which were built in 1970s for NASA-like applications, but they are much more expensive. And the advantage is that they can directly connect with renewables. When Next Hydrogen started in 2008, our mission was to provide low-cost and large-scale green hydrogen. To do this, we innovated a revolutionary cell design architecture, which enables alkaline electrolyzers to keep all their existing benefits, but also connect directly with renewables. As such, we bring the best of both alkaline and PEM electrolyzers for low-cost green hydrogen production. We were about a decade early, as no one was really focused on the green hydrogen market until 2020, and now we have a product which meets a very well-defined market need. In this illustrative example, we show what direct connection to renewables means for the cost of hydrogen production. So please use this more for directionality rather than the exact numbers. We use China as an example. So renewable prices in certain areas is now approaching between 2 to 4 cents, whereas the electricity price on the grid can be closer to 10 cents. So the two charts on the left show the price of hydrogen production using solar and wind, and assuming prices in the 2 to 4 cent range. The chart on the right shows the price of hydrogen production using grid connection, with the price closer to 8 to 10 cents. As such, you can see that the cost of hydrogen, when you directly connect to renewables, can be close to $2 per kilogram when produced, versus about $5 to $10 per kilogram when you connect directly to the grid. And the grid prices are likely going to keep going higher. So that's the power of electrolyzers that can directly connect to these renewables where the electron prices continue to decrease. So how does our alkaline electrolyzer directly connect to renewables? This lies in a revolutionary cell design architecture. In fact, we believe this is the first real design change in cell design architecture since 1950s. Essentially, our electrolyzers are able to separate gases and liquids right on top of each cell plate, compared to legacy alkaline electrolyzers, which collect gases and liquids from each cell and then separate them in a centralized fashion in big tanks outside the electrolyzer. So this helps remove the fluid flow choke points and allows these cheap alkaline electrolyzers to directly connect to renewables. This design has now been validated with both Canadian Tire and Atomic Energy of Canada Limited through pilot projects, which were followed by large repeat orders. In addition, we have 40 patents on this unique design, covering everything from our cell design architecture to how to connect these electrolyzers to wind farms to operating them at pressure in all the key markets for us. So I'll just take one of the patent family from that previous slide and put it over here. The patent family is called power delivery. As you can see, we have been working on direct connection of water electrolyzers to renewables since 2008. And so we have a long lead over our peers. We have a product which meets a well-defined market need. We started working on it when no one cared about green hydrogen. This is a snapshot of our leadership team. I believe we have one of the most tenured teams in water electrolysis globally. Myself, I have a capital markets background, been focused in the sustainability sector since 2010, and one of the sectors that I used to cover was the hydrogen space. So when I got an opportunity more than a decade later to be part of a company, it was quite an exciting opportunity for me. My CFO comes from Magna and also Ecolab. It's very operationally focused. My vice chair, Matt Fairley, was the chief technology officer of a company called Stewart Energy that started building electrolyzers back in 1990s. He also served as the chair of the US and US Hydrogen Business Council, as well as Canadian Hydrogen Business Council. Moving to the middle, our co-founders, Dr. Michael Stem, Dr. Jim Hanatsu. They have been leading product development in the electrolysis space since 1990s. First was Stewart Energy, which got acquired by Hydrogenics. And then Hydrogenics, as you may know, went on to got acquired by Cummins, and they had founded Next Hydrogen back in 2008. Rob Campbell recently joined us. He was a chief commercial officer of a leading fuel cell company, but had also worked with our co-founders back at Hydrogenics. Our chief operating officer, Jim Franchwell, comes from Delphi Automotive, GE, Cessna, a tremendous executive in both manufacturing and supply chain. My VP engineer comes from Air Products and Shell, and my VP operations is by far the leading integrator of hydrogen systems here in Canada with 60 plus installations. So very proud and humbled by the team we have been able to gather together at Next Hydrogen. We talked about the large addressable market so far. We talked about a technology edge to be a market leader in this space. On this slide, I will speak about our market traction. Our first project was with Atomic Energy of Canada Limited to treat heavy water, which is a different market from green hydrogen. However, the system requirements are similar but more stringent. We recently won a 7.7 million contract on the back of this pilot project, which offers us exposure to the nuclear fusion market, where more than a dozen demonstrations are planned for this decade. Getting a repeat contract and also a nuclear contract together is something to be very proud of, and we certainly are. Our second project was with Canadian Tire. We demonstrated our pilot system for providing hydrogen to their forklifts at their Brampton distribution center, which resulted in 2 large repeat orders for us. They have dozens of distribution centers as well as gas stations across 401, which is one of the busiest highways for heavy mobility. We also recently announced our collaboration with Casale. This is a 100-year-old Swiss company and one of the top 2 globally that provide turnkey ammonia plants. We are working to integrate our electrolyzers within their ammonia plants and use them as a channel partner. These green ammonia plants could require 100 megawatt plus solutions each. We also announced a partnership with GE last year, which is interested in selling their power converters into the green hydrogen market. We can bundle our electrolyzers and their power converters together and leverage their massive sales channel and execution capabilities to deliver 100 megawatt plus solutions. Finally, we delivered a system to Hyundai and Kia, which positions us well in the heavy mobility market. So all this to say, we are setting the stage for high quality revenues with strategic partners in high growth verticals for us. So we have laid a very strong foundation in 2023 for a transformative 2024. We grew our contracted backlog from 3 million to 11 million in 2023. And we will be focused on significantly increasing that given the large sales pipeline in front of us. We are gearing up to launch a second generation product line imminently, which will help unlock and grow our sales backlog. This comes on the heels of 16,000 hours of testing using our test equipment, which is helping de-risk our product launches. We are focused on reducing the amount of energy required to produce hydrogen as well. In this regard, we have been working with National Research of Canada and exceeded US Department of Energy targets in 2023. This year, we are focused on exceeding US Department of Energy's 2026 targets, which will further increase our unique technology's edge, our competitive advantage over our peers. Finally, we are about to commence pilot scale testing of a third generation product line after very successful bench scale testing. This is going to be much larger equipment for industrial applications. This will help us start marketing and pre-selling this product line into very large 100 megawatt plus types of opportunities. We have ample capital to achieve our 2024 objectives, and these milestones should help improve our access to capital as well. So just looking at this comp table, this was prepared by a third-party investment bank. There are 2 key takeaways. The sector was under massive pressure in 2023. You can see that with the share price performances. This was across the board for clean tech and small cap names. Some portfolio managers have said small caps are at a 20-year low at this time. Second thing I would say is that even with the depressed valuations, you can see the relationship with revenues and market caps. For example, green hydrogen systems with 5 million of revenues LTM last 12 months and market cap at 188 million versus where we sit, and we have an $11 million backlog, as I pointed out, which we will start executing on now. Just our financial statements on the right and our very clean capital structure, 23 million basic, 26 million fully diluted share count with strong insider ownership for the company. In terms of cash, we have $12 million of cash as of September. Since that time, we have received more government support and also the 7.7 million contract that I talked about. As such, we are very well positioned not to require any new capital infusion in 2024 to meet our objectives. Hence, we would be looking at more opportunistic investment opportunities, especially with high quality strategics as the primary mean to fuel our future growth. So with that, Paul, I'm going to turn this back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raveel. One question, you mentioned backlog, $11 million. How quickly does that get recognized? What do you think it's going to take as far as timing?
We think at least half of that should be recognized. I can't give guidance because we don't have revenue guidance out there. But you will be seeing a significant portion of this backlog starting to get recognized into 2024.
In 2024. Fantastic. Actually, before I start asking more questions, just want to remind everybody, if you've got a question you'd like me to ask Raveel, please use the chat function, and then I'll ask the question. So, I mean, the company went public just a little while ago, I think about 2 years ago. How much money was raised? Maybe some idea in terms of the IPO and some of the terms around that.
Yes, so we went public in June 2021. We raised about $55 million, paid about $3 million maybe in investment fees, and we had a $5 million loan that we had to pay down. So about 47 million starting point, and we have about $12 million at the time.
Sure. Perfect. And okay, so you said like you don't foresee a need for capital in 2024. What does the longer term capital requirements do you think look like, and what would you use capital for?
Yes, so what I said was that we don't require cash to meet our 2024 milestones at this time. We are, of course, very interested in working with strategics, large end users, and if we find opportunistic opportunities, we would take them. So our longer term needs, a lot of the investments that we had to make, we've made already. That came in the form of our manufacturing facility and mostly our test infrastructure. We have a world-class test infrastructure site in the back. We have 5 different assets which are running 24/7, producing hydrogen in our facility, and that's how we have accumulated the hours that we have accumulated and moving the company forward. Right now, our burn is about 15 million per annum, and we continue to see strong government support. And so over the last 2 years, I think our net burn was close to about, based on the support we already have, I think the net burn for us will be about $10 million after you factor in the government support. For us, this facility that we have right now can do about $30 million in revenues in itself before we need to expand and get our new facility up and running. And that will, of course, come with hopefully a large end user taking us into an expanded facility.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So you described the business to some degree, but maybe on a one-off basis, how does the business model work? You're selling units. Is there any sort of residual revenue, recurring revenue, or maintenance revenue? What can you tell us on that regard?
The primary revenue is from equipment sales and the gross margins we generate on that. In addition to that, we made a small acquisition of a company that provides integration services as well as operational maintenance services. So compressors, storage, dispensers, integrating with those, and all O&M services. That can typically be about, depending on what type of a contract you get, 4% to 12% of your capital sales, capital equipment sales. So that's where we are right now. Those two opportunities for us, equipment sales is going to be the majority of it, but longer term we see an opportunity to grow the services business.
Gotcha. What challenges do you face? What sort of keeps you up at night right now?
The challenges are getting a lot more easier than they were in 2021, 2022. The biggest challenges we had, frankly, was supply chain related. And it was a 3-pronged attack, really, that we saw. One was that prices jumped substantially. I'm talking about 100% types of increases in prices during post-pandemic, which was very tough. Also, we saw lead times increase to about 12 months, for obvious things. The third thing that we saw was that the quality was not very good of the parts that we were receiving. And I think that is that is a function both that our industry is going so rapidly, and quality cannot be just inspected in, it has to be processed in. And so when you're growing very rapidly, you can see those types of things. So how we manage those, is by having our own test rigs in our own facility. So that has really allowed us to vet out suppliers and get some really high quality suppliers and shake out some of the suppliers that were not performing well. So I think we are doing very well on that side at this time. The thing that we are focused on right now is we are launching our second generation and then our third generation product line. So that's where our focus is right now, making sure that, as we make that transition from a second generation to a third generation product line, we can do strong handoffs to engineering, strong handoffs to manufacturing afterwards. That's where the focus is for us as a company. Longer term, I think a lot about where we are going to manufacture our products and how are we going to be most cost competitive. So what can we manufacture here? What can we manufacture in other low cost jurisdictions, so that we have we have strong manufacturing ability as well, not just an incredibly strong technology.
Gotcha. We'll jump on some of the questions here from our listeners. The first one is, do you know how many forklifts or other engines widely used in industrial and commercial scale are fitted to run with hydrogen retrofitting? Or retrofitting a forklift or other machinery, is it a costly process? What is the ROE for the customer? A few questions there.
Yeah, so I don't have the exact number on on my hands, but what I would say is that Amazon, Walmart, it's not just Canadian Tire. These big companies have already started rolling them out. Very big companies like Hyster Yale are making these forklifts. So it's not like a few dozen forklifts. Second point I'd say is that it's a form fit function. So you can just take out the lead acid battery and put in a fuel cell right there. In fact, it's kind of lighter, so you actually have to put some weight underneath the fuel cells for stability reasons associated with that. And this is by far, the market that's working out really well. You can already generate high single-digit IRRs on this without any government support. So that's the reason why the forklift market is moving the way it's moving at this time. And what's really driving that is improved utilization rates. As I mentioned, the downtime with hydrogen fuel cells is just two minutes. Whereas when you're replacing batteries, that can be 20 minutes. And sometimes all the forklift operators will show up at exactly the same time, to change their batteries, and that elongates the time to about 1 hour. So there's a lot of benefits to that effect with our solution.
Gotcha. As far as some of the science around this, question is, in order to generate hydrogen, how clean must the water be?
Municipal water is good. We have a reverse osmosis system that comes with our overall package. So eventually, we do pass it through a RO process, but municipal water is all we need. Now with PEM electrolyzers, it can be more finicky and the water quality can cause some issues, but alkaline is much more durable in that sense.
Let's take it even further. The next question is, can you generate green hydrogen from municipal wastewater?
So we haven't tried that yet, but of course, I mean, any water that you can treat, we can work with. So where you're seeing some applications right now is actually because one of our byproducts is oxygen. So you can actually use oxygen to treat the wastewater as a process. So there have been some interesting business models that people are looking at, with having an electrolyzer unit, at the utilities, wastewater utilities, close to a bus station. So you're taking that oxygen, using that to clean the water, whereas the hydrogen is being sent to these mobility applications.
So there's potential for some other unique applications here and in different sectors. Okay, another question is, as far as I know, he says, pardon my ignorance, green hydrogen is only obtained if the energy used to perform the electrolysis comes from a green source. How do you make sure that your electrolyzers are only used with electricity from green sources and therefore can obtain green hydrogen? I'll stick with that one, then I'll finish the next part of the question here.
Yeah, I mean, an electrolyzer just requires electricity coming in. right?
Mhm.
So, and electrons can be any color, right? So it doesn't matter. What's so unique about us is that our electrolyzers can actually ramp up and down as the amount of electrons changes during the course of the day. So that's the most difficult thing for typical alkaline electrolyzers to do. They like steady electricity coming in, low operating points, and that's it. They don't like fluctuations like you would see with solar resource. As the sun goes up, as the sun goes down, they don't like that. With our unique electrolyzer, we have already demonstrated that we can easily load follow renewables, and there lies a competitive advantage. Now you have a very cheap alkaline electrolyzer. It can connect to directly to renewables, capitalize on those cheap electrons to produce green hydrogen cost effectively.
Yeah. So, I mean, the second part of the question, I think you've answered it. Obviously, you can use it using any kind of electricity, whether it comes from fossil fuels or any source. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. But why do that, right? So, I mean, like we are here, we believe hydrogen is not a mass decarbonization tool. It's a surgical tool to decarbonize those industries that cannot easily be, cannot directly be electrified. But just when you think about that opportunity in itself, I mean, it's, in trillions of dollars, just a niche for us.
Gotcha. Let's go back to like the stock itself. Went public, a few years ago. Well funded, lots of money raised. The share price is down significantly, which may be the opportunity for other investors. What percentage is owned by management? What's the sort of structure of the shareholdings? What can you tell us there?
Yeah, so it's a very clean capital structure. About all in insider ownership is about 27%, and on a basic, it's about 21% insider ownership. And yeah, so I mean, like most of the outstanding is actually options and DSUs. So we have about 3.3 million options and about 135,000 of DSUs.
Gotcha. And then just generally, who else owns the stock outside of insiders? I know of at least one reputable fund that's a shareholder. What else can you tell us about that shareholder base?
Yeah, so we have Fidelity is the largest institutional investor in our name. We have two strategic investors as well, below 10%. Both came from Asia, but one is partnered up with Bombardier, for example, multiple JVs with them. And then we have another big mutual fund out of Australia in our name. We also have some tremendous existing shareholders who were with Next Hydrogen before we went public. We have lots of them too, and some super capable ones. Like I see Dave Thompson over here he's one of our co-founders of the company. So we have folks like him in the company as well. Yes.
Fantastic. So, as investors and we're watching the business right now, what do you think are the key metrics or maybe milestones that we should be paying the most attention to really understand that you guys are driving forward in the right direction?
I think our second generation product launch is imminent. That's going to be very exciting for us at this time. We are that's going to help start unlocking some of our backlog at this time, which is about $11 million. I think you're going to start seeing revenue starting to come into the company based on the contracts that we have already announced. We are really focused on cell performance improvement right now. So I mentioned we are looking to exceed 2026 targets from US Department of Energy. That would be exceptionally good for us. Our backlog, I think you're going to see significant growth in that coming too when you're starting walking customers around this unit that we have. I think you're going to see some other big announcements come out of the company before the year is over. So yeah, it's by far the most exciting time. We have implemented our test infrastructure. We have de-risked our product roadmap by running it, evaluating it, and now this is the year. This should be a transformative year with our products out in the marketplace, generating revenues for the company and other big strategic partners coming in.
Fantastic. Raveel, sort of last opportunity here. What do you think is the key thing that you want to make sure everybody walks away with, or perhaps if there's anything we've missed, what do you want to make sure that everybody walks away with today as far as Next Hydrogen and knowing what you guys are all about?
three things. First of all, the market opportunity in front of us is not in even billions. It eventually will be measured in trillions of dollars. That's the beauty of having exposure to energy and transportation market. Number two, we have a product that meets a very well-defined market need. We have been thinking about green hydrogen 2 decades earlier than most people. And so now we have a very compelling product market fit. And number three, we have excellent channel partners, and you're already seeing them that will help us drive execution in this. Companies like GE, companies like Casale, Hyundai and Kia, Canadian Tire. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I think you're going to see more. And each one of these companies could be a company maker. So we are very humbled that we have such great execution partners in a market with such a huge addressable opportunity and with a very compelling product market fit.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Raveel. We've been speaking with Raveel Afzaal, CEO of Next Hydrogen. Again, the symbol is NXH on the Venture Exchange. Raveel, thank you so much for joining us, and we certainly look forward to catching up and monitoring your progress.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Bye for now.